Morning Brew family, and welcome to this episode of Morning Brew. Before we get started, I just want to take a few minutes to thank you for tuning in each week and to thank the many folks who have written in to suggest topics for discussion. Now, the whole idea behind Morning Brew was to help our viewers and listeners with news they can use. So I really want to thank you and our sponsors, IBC, for their support. So on that note, speaking of news you can use, say it isn't so. It is that time of year again. It is FAFSA time. And parents, doesn't it feel like we just did this yesterday? Well, it's time to fill out that form. Once again, it is a must if you want your college child to qualify for financial aid help. Well, I'm here to hopefully make it a bit easier for you by bringing on experts that can help. And we are starting off with Melissa Ramirez. She's the Director of Guidance and Counseling over at United ISD. Hi, Melissa. Thank you so much. To Morning Brew, welcome back. You were on the podcast just a few months ago. We were talking about transitioning high school seniors to becoming freshmen at universities. Big transition there. Now we're talking about the FAFSA, and that is so important. I went through it with my son, Michael, and wow, everything you put into that FAFSA determines how much money your child will get for college. Very important, but it all starts at the high school level, and we're going to talk about that. So welcome to Morning Brew.
Good morning, Mindy, and thank you so much for having me on this morning. So yes, FAFSA is a high school requirement, so we want to make sure that all seniors, current seniors right now, fill out the FAFSA, the TAFSA, or the opt-out form. It is a high school requirement, so it opens up December the 1st. So the most important thing to have right now, before you could even apply, you must have your student ID, FSA ID, and you must have your parent FSA ID. Those are two important documents that you have to have filled out. On our Counselor's Corner on each high school website, we have the checklist. So the parents are welcome to go there to see what they need, what documents they need to gather in order to fill out the form. So we just want to make sure we'll walk you through it, through the checklist, and then we highly recommend that they reach out to LC or Tammy U to get that filled out, because it's real important, because it is a high school requirement.
Right. Let's go back to the high school requirement component, Mel. This became a high school requirement just a few years ago, correct?
Yes, that's
Why?
That's
Why did
correct.
they make it a requirement?
The Department of Ed had so much money left over, so I'm thinking that's probably what happened, because I looked back historically to see what was the rate that the high school students were filling out the FAFSA, and it was only like a 35% rate. So when they made it a high school requirement, there's a lot of money that's being left out. Not only that, when students apply for that, once they go off to college, that's the first thing they ask them for any scholarships that they may be able to receive at that particular college. So they want to see family contribution, what is truly their need. So I think the Department of Ed had so much money left over that they said, you know what, we're going to make it a high school requirement. Every student has to fill it out.
Wow. And is that just in Texas, or is that across the country where it became a high school requirement?
I think it's across the country.
Where everyone
but
needs
I know
to do
for
it.
sure in Texas, absolutely everyone needs that in order to graduate.
I was just going to say, it's a requirement for what? It's a requirement to actually get your diploma.
Absolutely.
Correct?
It's a requirement to get to graduate from high school.
Okay.
So before you cross that stage, that's one thing that they are going to look at. And your counselors have already been advising the students, and they're going to check. One of those requirements is, do you have your FAFSA, TAFSA, or your opt-out form?
Let's talk a little bit
three.
about FAFSA versus TAFSA. What's the difference between the two?
Well, the FAFSA is if you have a social security number, and
Is this
if
the
you're
child or the parent?
Both, really,
Okay.
because if you filled out an income tax form, so
Okay.
let's put it that way. If your parents filled out an income tax form, then you fill out the FAFSA.
Okay.
If you don't have a social security number and you didn't fill it out, then you fill out the TAFSA.
For the parent, of course.
For the parent,
Okay,
of
because
course.
most kids are dependents on their parents' tax income.
Yes.
Okay.
And then if you're not going to go to school, you might take a gap year, then you fill out the opt-out form.
Okay, so you can That's the only way that you can still graduate and not fill out either of these two.
That's correct.
You have to sign off on that waiver, correct?
It's called the
opt-out.
opt-out form. It's called the opt-out form, but we want to make sure that if you're going to college that you definitely fill it out, because like we said, there's money there. There's money for everyone. A lot of times people think, I make so much money, I'm never going to qualify. Well, you never know. You never know. There's money out there for everyone. Always remember, it opens December the 1st, and the early bird gets the worm.
Absolutely. Now, when you say it opens up on December 1st, that is when the high school seniors and parents can go into the website and start filling it out, correct?
They go into the FAFSA.org, and they can fill it out. It opens up December the 1st. Okay. Historically, it's always been October the 1st. They started last year, December the 1st, opening it up December the 1st, and there were a lot of glitches. We want parents to understand that these glitches are not part of our ISD or TAMIU or LC. This was the Department of Education. They were trying to reduce the number of questions that they were asking on the form. And since it was the first year last year that they went from 136 questions to like 36 questions, there were a lot of issues that transpired. So they're doing the Department of Education, they're doing a lot of beta testing right now. So we're hoping that there's a smoother transition starting December the 1st.
Okay, perfect. You brought with you the check sheet of what they need to know to fill out or complete an FSA ID. Can we go over some of these right here, what the student needs and what the parent needs?
Yes, of course. So the student, you need to make sure that you write your legal name. Okay, so if your name is Ricardo, you write Ricardo, don't write Ricky. You need to make sure you have your date of birth, your personal email, very important. Students, please do not put your school email because you will be graduating in May. And if you're getting information, you've already graduated, so you're no longer with UISD, so you need to make sure that you put your personal email.
Because their school account goes away as soon as they graduate. It just disappears.
That's correct. They will no longer be able to use their school ID once they graduate.
Okay, so they're going to need a Gmail, a Yahoo, I don't know if they still have Hotmail, but they need something that they can always access.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
So that's very, very critical, students and parents, real important for you to use your personal email. And then for the parents' information, same thing. You need your legal name, date of birth, personal email as well, and then your social security for the parent. Make sure you have all of this on hand so that you could fill out and it could be a smoother transition. But I highly recommend that you fill it out with LC or with TAMIU. These are not forms that you fill out at the high school. We're just disseminating the information.
Got it.
We just want you to know that it is a high school requirement that you have to have that form filled out, but we highly recommend LC and TAMIU will be waiting. Whether you go to TAMIU, whether you go to LC, it does not matter. Legally, they need to support the parents and help them fill out that form.
Okay, perfect. And when we talk about Texas A&M International University or Laredo College, of course, those are for students that attend those here in Laredo or in Webb County. But if you're listening to this podcast outside of Laredo, outside of the state, I'm sure that there are community colleges and universities that are providing days where the student and the parent can go and get some help in the financial aid office.
And also extended hours. They will be providing extended hours, so they understand parents work 8 to 5. They will be open later than that.
Probably on weekends too.
Yes. Yeah. So please tap into that. And also students, just please make sure that you have that FSA ID and parent ID ready to go because it's real important.
Okay, perfect. Well, I appreciate your insight at the high school level, Melissa. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we've got our financial aid expert from our local community college, which is Laredo College here in Laredo, Texas. He is going to share with us what colleges are doing to help kids with their FAFSA or their TASPA and why it's so important to do this because there is a whole lot of money out there. And I'm not just talking about what's available here locally. Again, if you're watching this or listening to this outside of Laredo, there's a lot of money that the Department of Education has for students. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we hear from our college expert. Stay with us.
Why pay a monthly fee? Free checking at IBC.
Welcome back, everybody, to Morning Brew. We're talking about a really important subject. We're talking about the FAFSA. This is the form that we all have to fill out if we have college-age kids who are looking for financial aid to help them with college. And with me now, my next expert for the episode is Steven Aguilar. He's the Director of Financial Aid with our local hometown college, which is Laredo College. But I do want to note for anybody who is listening to our podcast outside of Laredo and Webb County that you can check with your financial aid office at your college or university at the location where you live. But Steven, thank you so much for joining us. So important to fill out the FAFSA. Tell us how, we've heard from the high school perspective and why they have to do it at the high school level. What happens after that?
Well, first of all, good morning, Mindy. Thank you for inviting us today. The FAFSA. The FAFSA is the key component for our students, for any students in the United States of America, to get some type of aid. That's the key to open the doors for scholarships, grants, work study, work on campus, and to pay for that higher education. That is one of the key components. In the high schools right now, it's mandatory for them to fill it out, but they don't have to do it alone. Our colleges, our universities all over the country, they're going to start hosting different sessions, different dates where parents and students can go and fill out the FAFSA, because the FAFSA and the TASFA are the key components to get financial aid, to get scholarships for those students to go to college and pay for that school.
And we were talking a little bit ago during the commercial break, Steven, that Laredo College specifically has a lot of resources, a lot of money to help out kids. Let's talk a little bit about what you've got there.
Yes, of course. So Laredo College, one of the first things, and you're going to keep hearing me saying, apply, apply, apply. The FAFSA opens the door, right? The FAFSA opens the door for any type of need-based or merit-based scholarship. Most of them are requiring for the student to apply for the FAFSA. In our Laredo College, we have different types of scholarships. We have local scholarships, we have private donor scholarships, we have scholarships for students that want to go to college. So if your dream is to get a degree, get a certificate, or get a bachelor's degree, whatever is it that you want to pursue, Laredo College offers that for that student. And not only Laredo College, you go to any universities, they have their own funding to help their students out. But the key component, once again, is the FAFSA or the TASFA. But we have plenty of funding. 96% of our students at Laredo College qualified for some type of aid, and 84% of those students qualified for full financial aid, meaning that a student that applies using the FAFSA, they are going to get their education paid for at Laredo College.
Wow.
Now, this is a key component for those students, and we highly encourage them, the parents and the students, to stop by our offices. They don't have to do it alone. That's what we're here for.
Well, that sounds amazing. And I understand you were saying that you're going to host special days where parents can go with their child to get that extra help.
That is correct, Mindy. So what we're going to do, the FAFSA and the TASFA open December 1st, which is going to land in a Sunday. We're going to be open from Monday through Thursday, 8 to 7. We invite everybody to stop by our college, to Laredo College, in the Fort McIntosh campus, Lerma Peña building. Stop by. We're going to be open from 8 in the morning to 7 o'clock, Monday to Thursday, and we're going to help anybody that wants to go to school, wants to pursue an education. We're going to help them apply, and you don't have to do it by yourself. And let us tell you, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that they might not want to apply for financial aid, but I'm going to tell you that there's a lot of money out there. All you have to do is apply. And all you have to do is apply with that FAFSA, so it could open the doors for all the rest of the scholarships.
What are some of the forms that the student and the parent, this is going to be both parent and student
Correct.
Need to show up. What are some of the forms that they need to take with them?
Yes, of course. So I know that you call them parents. Now they're called contributors.
Okay.
Now we have.
I guess that's what we are, the contributor.
We are the contributors, and that's good. Contributors are parents or step parents. What they're going to need is the 2023 income tax returns. They're going to need income tax returns. They're going to need their social security numbers. They're going to need those type of documents to bring in their W-2 forms to bring in with them. Usually they're able, once the student goes in there and gets their FSA ID and pre-fills the FAFSA and gets that invitation to the parent, automatically some of that information transfers. But what we want to do is have the parents bring their tax returns just in case we need additional information and the Social Security number, because it's always very important. And I know that our last host stated that my name is Steven Aguilar, but they might call me Esteban Aguilar. And if I put Esteban Aguilar, and that's not the way that is in your social, guess what? We're going to have some issues. So that is what we ask, all these documentations. I know that you have a checklist that the high schools provide. We also provide a site and a checklist for those parents to bring in their documents.
Now, if they don't have a Social Security, like Melissa was just saying just a little bit ago, there's the other one, the TASFA.
TASFA, there you go. So the TASFA. So the difference is the free application for federal student aid, which is the FAFSA, that offers, those are for American citizens, legal residents, and basically, I know that they mentioned somebody that has a Social Security number, they can apply using the FAFSA. Now, for those students that, their students they don't have a Social Security number, or they're DACA students, well, guess what? We still have help for them. We have state aid. The state aid is very important. It is one of our biggest contributors for DACA students, for our students that do not have socials. So they don't, when students are like, what am I going to do? My parents may not have a social. They don't have a social. Well, guess what? At Laredo College, anybody can get an education, and we have the means to help them. All they have to do is fill out a TASFA, which once again is the state application for state aid.
Wow, and I know that a lot of our viewers out there are that was probably mind-blowing for them, because I know a lot of people don't think they qualify for anything if they don't have a Social Security number, and I'm sure they started turning off our podcast, but we don't want anybody to do that, and we definitely want people to share this podcast with anybody that out there that is a DACA person, individual, because there is help for them as well. So feel free to spread this podcast out, share it with anybody who you think needs to listen to this good advice from Laredo College and, of course, the school districts. So once again, let's talk about the dates of the workshops that you're going to do for the students and parents.
Yes, so the FAFSA opens December 1st, and like Meli mentioned, historically, it always opens in October 1st, but now it's opening in December 1st. We highly encourage all the parents, all the students to have their FSA ID number, a username, a password.
Already.
Already.
So they can do that already
right
online. What's the website that they go to for that?
The website is studentaid.gov. Studentaid.gov, you go there, and from there it takes you could go to the FSA ID to apply for an FSA ID, to open the FAFSA website as well. Everything is in one page. Or if they want to go navigate to Laredo College, go to the financial aid website. We have a website dedicated especially for the 25-26 academic year for the FAFSA, with all the information that parents are going to need, that links directly to the sites, so they don't have to be, let's say they go to Google and they can't find it, all they have to do is go to the Laredo College website, and from there on, laredocollege.edu, and they will find the financial aid information there.
Okay, perfect. Well, you've definitely made it easy, one-stop shop.
Yes.
Great information, Stephen. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate having you with us. And I know we're going to have a lot of people knocking on your door come December 2nd for those workshops.
That is right. Yeah. So once again, thank you very much for having us. We're going to be open once again Monday through Thursday, December 2nd through the 5th. Stop by our offices located at the Lerma Peña and the Fort McIntosh. We're there. We're going to be there from 8 in the morning all the way to 7. So parents, when you get out of work, if you want to come by, they don't have to do it alone. That's what we're there for, and we will help you.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much, Stephen. And we are going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We have a financial aid expert, certified expert, who is coming on to give us a little bit of advice on how we can maximize the money that we could qualify for. So stay with us. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to Morning Brew. We are talking about a very hot topic. We're talking about the FAFSA. So this is for parents who've got college-bound students and even those that are returning to college. It's that time of year again where everyone needs to fill out a new FAFSA form. So we heard from Melissa, who was our high school expert. We heard from Stephen, who was our expert at Laredo College. Now we've got Jerry Garza with us. He is a college financial aid specialist. And
Something
I know
like
you've
that
got
works.
a big title.
I think we got
You've
the
got a
gist.
big title, but he's a advisor and managing partner with Modern Woodmen Fraternal Financial.
Yes.
So we're so glad to have you, Jerry, because we need you. We need you. I am a parent.
I don't know. I was telling you, I was listening to Stephen. I could probably learn more from him.
No. But you're a financial expert. You are certified to do college funding,
Right.
and we need to know what we need to do to maximize, to optimize the money that we can get for financial aid.
So first things first, and I'm so grateful to be here with you. But the last time I was here, you said you were going to have coffee for us last time on Morning Brew,
I
and you
know.
said next time we're going to have coffee.
I have failed you, failed you again.
Right, Mindy? Well, and again, I'm so happy to be here, and I think it's fantastic. I was talking, listening to Stephen over there and calling us contributors. I guess the students are called the receivers, right?
I think they've been receiving since they were born.
and so things really have. We've been contributing since day one.
Now we continue
Yeah.
to contribute. You've got 2 kids, twins that are about to head off
go.
to college. I've got one that's been there for 1 semester already. Melissa has a senior. Stephen has a senior. So we're all in the same boat, and we need as much money as we can get.
Yeah, and when we are looking at financial advice and things like that, obviously we talk to people. We want to try to capture people as early as possible because you really have 2 phases when it comes to preparing for college expenses. You have the phase where you're saving on or saving for. Their time is your ally. That is when we have a whole host of options that we can do when you're saving for. Unfortunately, if you haven't used time to your advantage, we can, we switch modes and we take off that cap and put another one. Instead of saving for, we're trying to save on at that point. And a lot of people find themselves in that situation where they're trying to save on instead of saving for. If you have seniors in high school already that are about to go and you've not saved anything, and again, we're talking about your 529s or things that were deliberate for college funding, then you're going to be in a little bit of a pickle, right? And you're going to try to maximize the amount of money that you can get, and that's where filling out the FAFSA is very advantageous. We're still, we talk about expected family contribution, which changed now, student aid index. But when we're talking about trying to save on college, we certainly want to reduce the expected family contribution, and so that way the student can qualify for more. And one of the things that we do in our practice is we sit down with people, we sit down with our clients, and we put them through a simulated FAFSA. Where they input the same information that they would for the actual FAFSA, and we're able to sit down and look at, okay, what strategies can we use to try to reduce what you are expected to contribute to this, right? Or the student aid index, because this year there's a tremendous amount of changes when it comes to funding college, and so. There is no one size fits all. This is not something that we can say, okay, you're going to do this, and because you may be in the exact same situation or same set of facts, but what you may need to do with different things may be different family to family. Mm-hmm. And so it's important to sit down and talk to people who are experts, and obviously taking advantage of Stephen and his folks over at the college, and taking advantage of those opportunities to sit down in front of the financial people. These are the folks that are looking to see how they can help you, right? What we're going to do on our end is help folks to try to come up with strategies to see where they can identify funding for the parts that they're not going to qualify for funding, and you look at the national numbers. A lot of people think that I'm going to get 100% of my schooling paid for through financial aid, and it very well may be, but a lot of that's going to be loans, and so what we try to do also is try to minimize that as well. There are some people that unfortunately, are going to have to go that route. College is so expensive.
It truly
I mean,
is.
you know,
It truly is.
you know, we're talking about $100,000 for a four-year degree at a
Easily.
public institution, right? You're
Easily.
talking about a private, that easily doubles or triples.
Right.
But there are, you know, people have pots of money that but they may not realize I can actually use some of this to go toward my college, my students or my kids' education. You know, you might have some maybe life insurance that you had from years ago that have cash value in there. You know, you could probably tap into that to help out. And so everybody's going to be different. But at this point, if we're talking about seniors, we're talking about saving on college, not necessarily saving for.
Well, I wanted to mention for our viewers and listeners what happened with me in my personal experience. So I went at it alone. So my son started his freshman year at a university just this past fall, and I went onto the website. We created the ID number. He did, I did. I filled out the FAFSA on my own afterwards, got zero advice, went to nobody for help, and I had an out-of-pocket expense that I need to take care of, and I'm having to take care of. I mean, he did qualify for some aid, and that's great, and we're grateful for that, but my question now is, had I had some advice from someone like yourself, Stephen at the university or at the college, you know, could I have minimized my out-of-pocket expense, my contribution, which we are all called now, and I just don't think that this is something that we should go at it alone.
I have no doubt, 100%. If you would have reached out to somebody for some type of help, you would have been in a very,
'Cause we
very
just
different
don't know.
situation. You just
We don't
don't know.
know.
And that's
Yeah.
the thing is one of the biggest mistakes people make is not asking. And this is one of the things that we deal with the industry a lot of times is, well, you know what, financial advice, that's for rich people. You know, that's for people who are
Have buckets of
millionaires,
money.
who have buckets
Yeah.
of money. And what we say is actually quite the opposite. People who have buckets of money, they can afford to make a mistake. It's those folks who are on the tighter budgets, who maybe don't have those tremendous amount of resources. Those are the ones that really need to go out and look for the help, because they cannot afford, literally and
mistake.
figuratively, to make a mistake.
Exactly.
And you just never know. One of the biggest mistakes that people make is just not asking or reaching out. And maybe there won't be any type of help, or maybe we won't, but you don't know, and you certainly don't want to live with that regret of what could I have done. And I will even double down on this, going back to your story, because you've shared your story with me as well. Is you were one of those that actually prepared from when your kids were little. You had the 529.
Yep, from
you were
0 years
contributing,
old.
you know, from when they were 0 years old, and they were actually contributing. And even at that, you know, your 529 did not grow.
Yeah, we had 2 recessions. I lost money by the time he was a senior.
But you didn't have somebody actively managing that
No.
for you. And so instead of kind of having that wind at your back, you know, you had the headwinds kind of having given
And
you
I think my mistake, and I'm sure a lot of parents' mistake also, is that because, like exactly what you just said, you don't have anybody managing it. We didn't know what the outcome 18 years later was going to be, and we weren't prepared on how much college costs as well. I was thinking college was going to cost what it cost when I graduated back in the 90s. I never looked ahead, you know, 30 years later to see how much tuition has grown, and I didn't do anything to make my contribution grow.
And just to see how I graduated with my 4-year degree, I kid you not, it cost me less than $10,000 for my 4-year degree.
Yeah.
Back in the late 90s. So, you know, I know I'm dating myself here a little bit, but my degree cost me less than 10 grand. Today, you can't even go a semester with 10 grand.
No, that's how much it is for 1 year.
Yes, that
it's
is
about 10 or 11,000.
You know, so and if you're in a certain situation, if you're a business owner and you've got kids, you know, you have a tremendous amount of strategies that you can use to be able to save on, you know, expenses to the business. You know, leverage the business to be able to save some money. There are things that we can do because of the changes that were made to how the income is assessed with retirement plans. You know, redirecting more to retirement so that you can reduce your SAI. And so, again, you just don't know if you don't ask. And if there's a takeaway out of this, is reach out to somebody for at least that second opinion. or maybe even it's just a first opinion.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Get that diagnosis first, and then you can at least say, well, you know what, I'm paying what I'm paying, but I know I'm not paying any more than I absolutely have to.
Yeah, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, it is not in our wheelhouse. It is not in my wheelhouse to know what your specialty is and what you are skilled at doing. So with that, I think exactly what you said, Jerry, right now, the takeaway is ask for help, definitely. Yes. And with that, I hope that I hope that we were able to help some folks out today with Melissa, with Stephen, with your good advice. Jerry, appreciate it so much.
Yeah, and college, the costs are just going up.
Yep.
So, you owe it to yourself. If we can save somebody $1, that's $1
I'll
that
take it.
you can get something else, right?
Yeah.
Go to the vending machine at least for a chocolate.
At least for a cup of coffee. Thank you so much, Jerry.
Appreciate
having you with us. And that does it for this episode of Morning Brew. We hope that we were able to help some folks out there. If you think that there's somebody that can benefit from this podcast, please feel free to share it to everybody, because like Jerry said, if we can save somebody $1, that is $1 saved. So with that, thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next week with another episode of Morning Brew. Until then, enjoy the brew.